Caroline Strachan with Festive Road, the consultancy on a mission to create better travel and meetings management. Today, I'm at the Win It Summit at the Global Business Travel Association Convention in San Diego. I'm here with Mick from BNY Mellon, and today you're going to be talking about our macro trends. So which of the 8 macro trends have you chosen, Mick?
I have chosen take the lead or be directed.
Okay, so why that particular one? Why does that speak to you personally?
It jumped out at me as soon as I was reviewing all of the different options. For me, everyone's career is all about taking charge, and one of my favorite expressions is I am my own savior. I think that applies to life. I think that applies to your career. I've always believed that the travel manager, the buyer, and the supplier, all of us, have the opportunity to own our own career, own our own path, and there's so much that we can take advantage of right now. And that spoke to me from the very beginning. There have been so many examples over the course of Win It where we've been able to both motivate people, and women especially, in taking the lead. And there's a couple of examples of that. The first is that oftentimes, and I'm sure you've been in meetings like this, you come into a meeting and a woman is going to automatically not take a place at this table but sit on the outside. You ask people's opinions, and I've seen this too, where a woman is going to be the last to express what their opinion is. I ask for volunteers on who's going to lead a project, and it might be something outside of a typical space or a typical something that they typically do or lead, and they're the last one to raise their hands. There's a few things that I've seen that has shifted a bit in that dynamic. I think Win It has been a big part of that, and that is everyone's voice matters. And there's an expression that we often have, which is at Win It, everyone leaves their business card at the door. Doesn't matter your title, doesn't matter the number of years experience, everyone has a voice and everyone's experience matters. And I think that everyone is understanding that if they're to take that leap and if they're to take that next level of areas of responsibility, it's up to each one of us in order to do that.
Okay. So that's the Win It side of Mick Lee, and then there's also the BNY Mellon side of you. You have a huge responsibility there. If you think of the buyer community, what have you seen the buyers need to be doing more of to take the lead versus being directed?
I think the most important piece is that we are responsible for how we are seen. And the most powerful component of that is that no one is just anything. And we have a expression, I run corporate services, which is a collection of different departments. And we have a practice session with everyone from the mailroom to the pilots that run the corporate jets. And everyone practices their elevator pitch and introducing themselves. And at the beginning, some people sometimes say, well, I just deliver mail. I'm just in the mailroom. I just serve food. No one just does anything. And when you change that and when you reframe that, then you are in control of how you are seen. And you know, we've talked a lot about this with author Anise Kavanaugh, who was our keynote speaker today. Your thoughts matter. And what you say to yourself before you say it to someone else matters. And so what you put out, it makes a big difference. And so when you say something with pride, and when you portray that yourself with confidence and say, I am a travel manager, I am a buyer. Let me tell you what that means. That means I have transferable skills. That means I'm an excellent negotiator. That means that I can influence others. That means I'm a great collaborator and facilitator. And that also means that I can do that in the travel space. I can do that in the food services space. I can do that in a space that's completely unrelated to what I've done historically, because that is the way that I lead. And that's a difference, I think.
Okay. So if I think about your travel team and your responsibility, what's an example of them taking the lead? I can't imagine they're sitting there passively waiting to be directed. What's an example maybe of something they're doing to take the lead?
Well, I think there's a lot of examples I have that where my team takes the lead. One of the biggest ones that I celebrate all the time is disagreeing with me. And I love that. And I mean, you and I've talked about this before. Some of my best friends today in the travel industry are people who have disagreed with me, or we've had confrontational first meetings, which is something I celebrate all the time, especially when they're women. Therese Kelleher is a perfect example of that, you know, who was leading a sales organization at CWT at the time. And the first RFP meeting, we sat down and she said, you're doing it all wrong. And I leaned in and I said, tell me everything, and changed it. So my team leads by saying, here, I see what you're saying, and they know it's a safe place to say, here's a better way of doing it. Here's what colleagues have done in Brussels. So Damien Burist is our lead for travel services globally out of Brussels. And he says, here's what we're talking about in Europe with my colleagues. So course correcting, coming in with new and different ideas, and always knowing it's a safe place to be able to do that. And because we have different areas and different departments within corporate services, everyone knows that everyone has a voice across everything. So someone that leads mail knows that they have a voice when it comes to food services, and same thing in travel and all the other areas that we manage. I think that's the part that as a leader, it's our responsibility to create that safe place. And as a member of the team, if you're not in a team that allows you to do that, challenge that, question that, and let your feet do the walking. Because if you're not in the right place, find the one that is.
Love that. Well, brilliant advice as always. Mick, thank you so much for spending time with us today. And thank you, the audience, for watching and helping us create better travel and meetings management.